Hey everybody, and welcome back to You Are Free TV. It is Monday, April 27th. I'm so glad to be back with you. I'll start with my disclaimer, which is that this video is for entertainment purposes only. It is protected by the United States Constitution, protecting free speech, as well as the Sullivan Act and reporting. It is not intended to bully or harass anyone, never to incite violence or hatred of any kind. There are further disclaimers in the description below, and this video does not give medical advice. So glad to be back with you. I start with thank yous. Thank you to my patrons. You make this channel possible. I am so appreciative of you. As you can see, we've got the storm brewing here. The storm is underway, and here we are in the midst of it. So thank you, patrons, for making me continue. And I want to say thank you to Haley. We've got the Zincapalooza going on here for patrons. Every video that I do, I'm giving away a bottle of zinc, right, to help stop the replication of the controller virus. And this is going out to Haley. Thank you so much for the long time support, Haley. And this will go out to you. And if you want to become a patron, you get on the daily giveaway of the Zincapalooza, plus so much more. I also want to just start by saying that I support this product, Tetragen, on this channel. This is a metabolic healer. Metabolic functioning is one of the biggest things that has been attacked in our bodies over the last 30 to 40 years, trying to get us, well, basically, we've been compromised in our metabolism and also our kidneys, our pancreatic function. Tetragen helps to heal your metabolic hormones in your brain. So important right now when we're under major assault. And also decreases inflammation massively. People report major pain relief from joint pain, etc. That's the inflammation issue. When you get your inflammation down, you get your metabolism working, it really boosts your immune system, allows it to heal and do what it needs to do to fight the you-know-what. So anyway, 10% off to viewers, 20% off to patrons, a giveaway of a set of Tetragen on every month. And the patron give back. And also, just know that we need to take care of our health right now as best we can. I'm going to talk about that in the video. So, okay, now let's get into it. I've got my usual green drink here. This is my, it is my, my Q-tonic, my quinine. I will try to, it's basically, natural quinine is pretty much grapefruit rinds that you can boil yourself for a few hours, and then you keep the pot closed the entire time if you boil grapefruit rinds and lemon rinds as well. And you boil that, and you keep the pot, keep the lid on, and after 3 hours you shut it down and keep the pot lid on, and it will give you quinine that you can just keep in your fridge. You don't need to get the tonic if you don't like the tonic water. And then I also put in there this green stuff, which is chlorophyll, which helps to oxygenate the blood. It's why they're seeing so many people that look like they have high altitude sickness in this this controller virus situation, and it's because they're not getting enough oxygen in the blood. We're all suffering it for a long time now, but now it's getting a lot of play here in this controller virus. So this is from naturesway.com. It's like $9 a bottle. You can get it. It will help you to oxygenate your blood. So, okay, let's jump in. So what happened today? One really exciting thing is we had in Kiev, right? They've been burning down the area around Chernobyl, right? That vacated area where nobody is, and it's been this playground really for globalist whatever they want to do there. We know there's a P4 lab outside of Kiev as well. Well, they just today busted a baby trafficking farm that was about birthing babies to be sold to Chinese businessmen. That's huge, very huge, because this is what's being taken down all over the world, and massive. So we get 140 babies we know have been sold to Chinese businessmen. Many more being birthed, ready to go. What their purposes were, what they were meant to be, we don't know. But that's a huge bust. I'll link it below. You can check it out for yourself. And I think also a big thing today is what comes out of Italy is that they have found that there is now, oh wait, I forgot to say thank yous. I'm so sorry. I forgot my thank yous for my, for the people who just give contributions to this channel, and I always want to. So I'm going to say thank you to Ajahn. Om Mani Padme Hum to Ajahn. Thank you so much for the donation, and thank you so much to Mike and Nicole. It is hugely appreciated, the donations, and yeah, so thank you so much for that. Yeah, I hate when I forget to do that in the beginning. Let me make sure I said it right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Michael and Nicole, for the donation. And so then, now, we look into the rest of it. So, okay. The other thing is in Italy, we have this situation where in Italy, they have detected coronavirus in the air pollution. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it means some pretty big stuff. It means that they literally were able to find that we have an aerosolized coronavirus. And it's what I've been reporting on. It's what I reported the other day, where we saw that there was Bill Gates saying that they have now, since 2005, he presented to the military that they could use an aerosolized coronavirus to partially lobotomize us, basically. What it meant, and I'll link it below, and it was in my last video, is that they can use a virus, a DNA, a synthetic weapon that affects your brain to pretty much shut down the parts of your brain that have to do with faith, that have to do with what they call, extremist behavior. Okay, and they're saying that because they're trying to put this in the couch of, or the beard of theism or fanaticism, that they can aerosolize a weapon that will make you not feel that way anymore. We've been seeing the same thing with the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. All my videos from the past around the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative using biotechnology out of San Francisco, especially out of the VA hospital in San Francisco, where they want vets to not feel PTSD anymore, right? This is a partial lobotomy. It is a chemical lobotomy. It is actually, it's way more advanced than that. It's a biosynthetic interaction with your brain of biosynthetic genetics going in there to basically shut down parts of your brain. And now we're seeing in Italy that they're finding coronavirus in the air, in the pollution particles, right? They're saying it's in the particulates of the air. And of course they're trying to say it's because people are sneezing and breathing, and that's where it comes from. And of course not. No, you don't find coronavirus in the general pollution particulates of the air because of people breathing and sneezing. No, you find it in the air because it's being aerosolized and sprayed over you through geoengineering, through what Bill Gates funded, which has been going on way, for 40 years at least. The spraying of us with damaging chemicals to affect our genetic makeup and our health on all levels. But this particularly is very interesting because, of course, Italy was one of the hardest hit countries. But what does that mean for us here? Well, it means a lot, because We are the only country that is super, well, not, no, we're not. We're not the only country who is has a rogue government that is completely saying, oh, testing, testing, testing. President Trump today, in his task force speech that wasn't supposed to happen because supposedly they were going to get rid of them today, but no, it happened anyway. And they said, well, there's going to be lots of testing, but it might not, you know, it's going to go by state. It's not going to, he won't mandate the testing. Didn't say it outright. This thing about, oh, we just keep building up the testing. People, everybody that gets tested, your DNA is on file. Your DNA is collected. They said something like 4.6 million Americans now have been tested, which means that you have had your DNA collected by the government to be held in perpetuity, just like joining 23andMe, who also is involved in the contribution to the coronavirus effort, or any other of these. And 23andMe, she's the sister, the owner of 23andMe is the sister of Wajuki, or whatever her name is, out of YouTube, right, who's doing all the censorship. Well, all of these DNA testing sites are another problem. Don't give your DNA away, people. Don't do it. Don't do it. And so, okay, now let's move on to the next thing. Okay, we have, of course, the exoneration of Flynn. Okay, William Barr has come out, you know, and basically kind of hinted toward that coming. We know that all of the stuff around the secret transcripts that Schiff is trying to hide. Adam Schiff, the evil little, you know, best buddy of Buck, whatever, Ed Buck, the guy who hangs out doing weird Egyptian rituals, meaning Adam Schiff, and of course all the rest of it. Well, he has now come out and blamed Trump for 50,000 American deaths for the coronavirus. It's Trump's fault. You can't make it up. It's so crazy, but it's all because he is, of course, going for he's going to go for impeachment number 4 or whatever, but he is blocking interviews with former Obama National Security Advisor Susan Rice, and also Samantha Power. All of these interviews that were already declassified, Adam Schiff is holding hostage in the Intelligence Committee that would, of course, exonerate lots of people, and one of them is Flynn. And Flynn, of course, came in trying to inform Trump of all of the bad, big-time, massive globalist aggression that was going on, and we saw what that did to him. But he had his hand in some pretty dirty pots as well. But this is where we get into, where does truth and reconciliation come in here? Where do we get into a situation where people have an opportunity to come forward and become part of a Healing America and Healing Humanity team? And that's what Flynn was doing. And so he also blocked the release of interviews with Sally Yates, okay, who is basically the one who used the Logan Act against Flynn. That's what Schiff is attempting to block now. There was transcripts with Donald Trump Jr. There was Jared Kushner even, and Corey Lewandowski, Sam Clovis, Steve Bannon. The interviews would be able to, if they were released, we would be able to hear what James Clapper had to say, Andrew McCabe, everyone else. And now Schiff is literally blocking these interviews from coming to light, even though all the rest of the people, all the Republicans on the Intelligence Committee want these to come out, and Schiff is blocking it. So we're going to see what happens there. Now, what do we think when we sit in this? We are literally we're the ones that can only break us out of this globalist lockdown aggression. We've seen all around the country, everybody's fighting back. We're part of it. I know you are. We need to continue to fight back. We have to be the people who are also not just free will, but also faith. Because having your spiritual self alive and ignited, and your free will to go out and act against the globalists, is the only thing that is going to really stop it. It has to be both a spiritual and a active, skillful means, wit and wisdom, dual push, where we unite those parts in ourselves. We understand that it takes our spirituality to be able to take action, and those things are what is going to defeat the globalist biotech attempt to assault us with this massive quantum AI technology takeover of humanity that they are pressing for. We saw in Australia, they have adopted now the app, okay, to identify people as, well, for COVID tracing, right? But that is mimicking what is coming here with the, trying to get it here in the United States as well. In China, they already have it as the red light, green light, yellow light app in their smartphones, if they can work or not. And when we hear about these testings coming out for the rollout back into normal life here in this country, that's what is being intended by the globalists, by the deep state. And President Trump said, I'm leaving that up to the states. However, we have to be the ones to resist it. You cannot submit to being tested in order to work for anything. Certainly not a coronavirus that has not shown to be more deadly than the flu. Certainly not for any reason. Quarantine and testing has always been for the sick and ill, never for the healthy. This is a reverse universe situation where they're trying to say that the healthy need to prove that they're healthy. This is mandatory vaccines on steroids. This is, you have to actually prove you're healthy to go to work. Obscene, ridiculous, absolutely anti-constitutional, and we must say no and go out, go ahead. The states are opening. We need to be part of getting out there and opening. So what's going on? We have already robots out there delivering things, right? Multiple places across the states now. We're having these robots roll out. They're already happening in China, of course. Why are we mimicking China? Why, when supposedly China is the source of this virus, we're mimicking them with having, well, we're not. We're fighting a deep state globalist aggression. We're fighting an assault on our lives where we're not going to be allowed to go to stores in normal capacity or buy things in normal capacity. They're pushing the 666 cryptocurrency that Bill Gates funded, and now we also have, well, okay, before I get there, the robots. They're going all over. They're delivering, PPE, right? They're delivering to the hospitals that are literally furloughing everybody. They're furloughing all their doctors, all their nurses. And we saw over the weekend the great, excuse me, the great videos by Dan Erickson out of Bakersfield, California, where he runs an urgent care Senate. Dan Erickson out of Bakersfield, California, runs an urgent care center where he disclosed enormously that there is zero reason to close down anything that people need for their immune systems to get out and be with each other. They absolutely must. And I will link his video below. He said, we need to be, for our healthy immune systems, people need to be around each other. We need to interact with each other. We cannot be shut down because there is no evidence that the controller virus supports any kind of lockdown. And he said also that, Dr. Fauci has not seen a patient in 20 years. I would say more like 30 to 40 years since Dr. Fauci has actually seen a patient. He said, we see the patients, we know what they're going through, and we know we have no reason for a lockdown. This is not a pandemic. Incredible stuff. Doctors all over the country and all over the world coming out and saying, yeah, this isn't happening. And I'll put out there the country of Belarus, right? Belarus is a country of only 10 million people out of the old Soviet Union, and it has the most urbanized population, meaning close together, living close together. Minsk, remember the game Risk? If you ever played the game Risk, Minsk was always one of the things. Well, Minsk in Belarus, huge amount of the population lives there. Totally urbanized. 75% of the people living close together in Belarus. And the leader of Belarus said, I'm not doing anything about this controller virus. I advise that people take, I think he said like a couple ounces of vodka twice a week to kill any of the bacteria and stuff in your body, and take more saunas. Take more saunas every week. Well, it sounds very kind of familiar to the advice we're getting here, right? And they didn't lock anything down. They had something like 70 deaths out of 10 million people. And of course, the mainstream news comes out and says, well, that's evil, that's awful. How could this autocrat stop these people from getting more protection? They don't need more protection because there is no problem there. And so there's that. But then on top of it, when we look here, we have the massive kill-off of our old people in this country. We have the kill-off of people all over the world, massive, intentional kill-off and murder of old people through this controller virus kill-off. And so many thousands and thousands of old people have died alone and unable to have their families with them, to have this, again, this the sequestering of the uninfected, saying they're protecting them, right, while they die off without any human connection, and of course with massive fraud and almost diabolical, well, just totally diabolical murdering off of the older generation in care homes that have gotten none of the regular care they should have gotten, right? And then in New York, we have Cuomo purposely putting COVID patients into the nursing homes. It's a huge scandal. They're saying Cuomo has blood on his hands. He has put all of these COVID patients coming out of care in the hospitals and saying, you must take these COVID patients who are older into your nursing homes, right? Multiple nursing homes. And Cuomo has been on the massive grift of the Medicare and hospital system in New York for his entire time that he has been in office, not to mention way back to his criminality in the HUD. But now he has literally just been he literally has just been responsible for the deaths of hundreds, if not thousands, of the deaths in New York have been in nursing homes, and these have to do with COVID killing thousands of residents after he made a mandate that said that they must accept these COVID patients into their facilities. Criminal, awful, absolutely, just, it's disgusting, but it feeds right into the same thing that we know. And I want to, before I get to this next thing, I want to talk about the issue around light medicine, right? President Trump almost didn't do any more task force meetings because he was like, well, they're just going to make it disgusting. After the ridiculous thing with, you know, the MSM saying that he's telling you to inject Clorox into your veins. I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing ever. And so, but what do we have? Remember my last video, light medicine revealed? And I got into the more infrared side of it because that's what I am interested in. And that is real. Infrared technology and red light totally heals your mitochondria, does all kind of stuff for muscle healing, everything else. It's like when I talk about my Tetragen, you know, it does that on steroids if you go into infrared healing technologies. Well, Trump was talking about UV healing technologies, and he was talking about the information out of, really it came out of LA and out of Cedars-Sinai, the really elite LA hospital where all the big stars go to, where Bill Gates goes, where all of the big money people go, this super elite hospital where they do UV light healing technology. And there was a video that even Cedars-Sinai got squashed and taken away and taken down, where they were explaining how UV light can be actually put into, when a patient is intubated, they can put another tube basically that goes in, and it feeds this UV light. And it's not UV light that people think, oh, it kills me, it's UV light. No, it takes out all the dangerous parts of different, there's many kinds of UV light. It takes out the dangerous kinds, and it puts UV light right into your lungs, and it kills all the virus and the bacteria and everything going on in the lungs. And this is an elite technology that they already know about. It can be done different ways that are easier, believe me. Light beds, hello. But this is a technique that they can do. And this even got deleted off of the internet when it was already being exposed. Well, just put out there for people to see. And that's what Trump was talking about. Can't they put something in the body with the light that will disinfect the lungs? That's what he was talking about. They tried to make it, oh, Trump wants you to, you know, inject yourself with bleach. I mean, these people are sick. They're disgusting. And so that's come out, and it's real. And I will link it below about the UV light that can go in and disinfect the lungs. And it goes way deeper than that when it comes to healing light. Absolutely. Won't belabor it. So now, let's go on from there. So I wanted to talk about, of course, we have the firing of Rick Bright, right? The head of BARDA. And BARDA is the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, basically the head of who controls what's going to go on with vaccine development out of the Health and Human Services, right? And so he gets replaced, okay? Alex Azar puts him in a different position. Everybody says, oh, they're going to fire Alex Azar and they're going to put Deborah Birx in his place. Horrors, right? Horrors. That would be horrifying. But that hasn't happened, but he has been taken out. And this has to do with the whole vaccine development. And this vaccine. Right now is the time to make it really clear that you will not be taking a vaccine. That these DNA vaccines are absolutely dangerous. This is a DNA virus. It's an RNA based sequencing, right? It's a super short, small little genome, and but it has 4 different points of HIV cut into it. It is a super effective bioweapon that was developed by Fauci. And when the USA outlawed it back in 2014, he sent it to China, right? And Obama sent it to China. And then even under the Trump administration in 2017, when Trump first got into office, there was still 700,000 of that $3.7 million still got sent out, right? I don't blame that on Trump. I don't think he knew how to stop that or what was going on or every single freaking thing. How can you? Okay, we're talking about plates spinning like you've never seen, trying to protect this country like you've never seen, and it's a massive effort. So we need to insist that Fauci get brought before court, okay, with everything, all the videos you've seen out there, I'll link them below, of Judy Mikovits, everyone else talking about what Fauci has done. Just everything we know ourselves, all the research, whether it's George Webb or what you've seen on my channel, we know that Fauci has been in charge of the gain of function, meaning the infectability of viruses being synthetic biology, weaponized, created, and then made to be more and more contagious. This has been absolutely established. So it's us, we are the ones that need to insist that Fauci be prosecuted, investigated, and I mean, investigated, yes, but there's so much evidence out there that we know that he has been at the forefront of creating a gain-of-function bioweapon coronavirus with SARS, MERS, HIV, literally put into it, even though those specific things were absolutely outlawed, okay, in 2014. It was outlawed to do gain-of-function studies on SARS, MERS, HIV, and other things. And he went ahead and did it anyway, put it out to China, and here we are dealing with it right now. So it's up to us. We are part of this. And we're part of it so much because our complacence, our absorption in social media, in the entrainment technologies that of course are, they're put against us as a weapon, but we are also the ones that are partaking of them. So there is a symbiosis here. There is a controller-controlled relationship that we are responsible for, and we must act against it. We must use both our free will and our faith, because if we can unify those things in ourselves, if we can come to some integrity, then we will stop being such willing participants, and we will absolutely insist on the accountability on the folks that are going forth full bore to do a pretty much what is a global genocide right now. And it's not just the controller virus, it is the technology of the millimeter waves, it is the what comes next out of the bioweapons game of tricks here, what we're going to see next, what they want to make us into, these Aldous Huxley Brave New World beings where you have to, you know, swipe your wrist or show your green light to go to work. Is that the world you want to live in? No, of course we don't. So, okay, let's move on from there. All right, I want to Well, I guess I want to just mention a few things. I'm going to get back to Dan Erickson over the weekend and the doctor out of Bakersfield, California, and what he had to say about our health and how he came out so clearly and said that our immune systems depend on human interaction, right? And I'm going to juxtapose that by saying we know that the biotechnology, well, the surveillance technology, right? The surveillance grid depends on people being in this 6 feet apart scenario. 6 feet apart distancing gives the surveillance technology the ability to read everything about our bodies. When we're in crowds in urban areas, they might be able to get your facial recognition, but they can't get your full body scan, how you move, what your gait is, everything that they read about you. They're reading everything. And they're reading it for a purpose. They want to create a quantum grid, right? Well, they already have, okay, folks. They've already created a quantum. The quantum already has a grid, all right, put out by the EMF technologies and the ionization of the sky through the geoengineering, whereby they can pretty much pinpoint where anybody is using your electrical signature. But with this social distancing, they not only get this, it's not only that you don't get your human interaction that feeds your natural biome that we need. We need this. We need social interaction. We need touch. We need everything as humans, right? It's just like trees interact with each other. They touch each other, and it makes them healthy and grow. Same with humans. We need to be connected to each other, next to each other. But the grid, the AI, wants to read you separated from each other, especially if they have your DNA collection. It's connected to your cell phone. It pinpoints your body. It makes it really easy for them. And then they read everything about you. And it goes into this AI, well, really an artificial superintelligence on the quantum level that is reading everybody. It's reading everybody, and it's doing what is going to be Bill Gates' big baby here of the, 2020, 666 cryptocurrency along with the digital tattoo. But the cryptocurrency is really important here because this is a quantum currency based on human energy. And it literally feeds right back into the Matrix, into the movies. And I'm not saying that lightly. It literally goes into humans as a source of energy on an electrical level, a biodynamic electrical level on which they are reading outcomes, they're reading the future. A centralized AI, a quantum D-wave AI, with everybody's DNA entered into it, allows the AI to create a massive surveillance tool that can read the outcomes of all of humanity's potential, their energy, their health, their thoughts, their dreams, their desires, and that because reading the mind, reading the body, reading the emotions, and it creates potential pretty much for every human. And this is the new currency that they're planning on this 666 Bill Gates patent that I've been talking about in so many other channels too. It's about creating a future based on averages of what they can potentiate from what they can read from your DNA plus your digital footprint to what might happen, and also what they want to happen and what they can then turn around and make happen once they've read everybody. So it's a predictive programming, but it's a predictive way to do the future based on what they learn from everything that they're learning about you. I know, I hope I'm saying it a little bit clearly. They will read everything in this quantum reading of you through your DNA that you offer them, plus the millimeter wave technologies that are then following and reading everybody, as well as infiltrating everybody's minds and skin and body. And then they will create the future based on what will make it most optimal that they can make happen, knowing who you are and knowing who we are collectively. That's why it's so important that you are turning off your devices, for one thing. That's an aside, whenever you can, to make it a little less possible. But also having your faith, having your centering, having your telic center, doing your part to exercise your free will, and not just listen and take in information, be a active agent getting out and changing reality right now towards the good, towards the positive, towards the free. It's so important because the war is happening. Okay, it's not just U.S. and China and some big, war here. This is the war of globalist aggression against humanity, and it goes into a deeper giant AI that is predicting it, that is coming up with alternative ways to control us. And I don't say that to scare you. I'm just saying that that's the technology. We just think for the last few decades, we keep hearing about the quantum universe, everything that happens with quantum, whether it's wormholes and all of this stuff. Well, quantum is really been totally taken over by technology to create a sub-reality that is the reality we're in. And that's why people feel less, why they think less, why they act less, because they have used this quantum subsystem, this simulation system of quantum technology through the grid and the ionization, the geoengineering, to be able to make it function. So there really is almost a sub-simulated quantum system that is overriding our normal emotions, our normal bodily functions, our normal our normal individual healing mechanisms, and taking that over into this, putting us in this smaller and smaller and smaller zones where we have much harder time connecting with each other, harder time connecting with God, and then a harder time just surviving, right? And so that's why we must act. We must not be part of it. I'll get more into it tomorrow. I'm at 43 minutes, but just think, if you get deep in your faith, if you really get into things like meditation, get into non-mediated space by turning off your devices and your Wi-Fi, and also de-urbanize as much as you can, because those are the most affected areas. That is our saving grace for humanity. We need people to really get active in spiritual activism, faith-based activism, and at least less of the interference of technology. So I might leave it there, folks. I know it was a little squirrely, as it usually is in my videos lately. There's so much happening, and it's not simple. It's not just political. It's not just Pelosi and what's now the Dementia Party. It's not the Democratic Party. It's the Dementia Party. We have Pelosi now saying, I totally believe that Biden never assaulted anybody or did any sexual assaults, right? Yeah, her with her dementia and Biden with his dementia, and both of them with complete control through whatever's going on in their lives. We know that Pelosi's the biggest stealer of our taxpayer dollars through the Congress, and Biden through his vice presidency. Massive thieves. Doesn't matter about sexual assault when it comes to Biden. And even though more and more and more and more people are coming out today to support the fact that Biden, the Secret Service used to call him Mr. Hyde, as in Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, that once Biden started drinking, they would shut down literally the White House, make sure all the women were behind closed doors and that he could not get at them because he was a total perv, as we know from seeing all the videos of Biden groping all the girls, completely out of control. Now they've lobotomized him to a certain extent, and they're going to try to take over. In New York, they're saying, we're going to scrap the primary. We're scrapping the Democratic primary. You know, it's just, that's fine. The DNC says, oh, we'll have to look into it. Very interesting. Folks, they're shutting down everything they can about our republic, and especially the democratic parts of our republic, certainly the Constitution in our republic. So we need to up our faith. We need to up our activism. Thankfully, we have the entire country working really hard to say no. And we're going to keep saying no because we are free, right? Yes, we are free. I'll see you tomorrow.